The desert was never empty. It waited for geometry. Every morning, the same light rolled over the Giza plateau, a slow tide of gold washing the limestone ridges. To the first engineers of the Nile, that light was a compass. They read the horizon the way we read blueprints. Each flicker of shadow, each returning star was a coordinate. They did not worship the sun so much as collaborate with it. Long before the Great Pyramid rose, before Khufu even dreamed of eternity, the idea of shaping permanence had already taken root. Imhotep, the man remembered as architect, physician, and sage, stacked 6 steps of stone at Saqqara and discovered a principle. That stone, aligned with purpose, could defy decay. His design was not accident. Each layer shrank by a measured fraction, distributing weight downward through proportion rather than bulk. What he created was not a monument, but a formula. Proof that symmetry could withstand time. Centuries later, Khufu's scribes would copy that logic onto papyrus and bring it to the high banks of Giza. There, the river bent like a silver hinge, and the plateau of limestone shone under the morning sky. The king's dream was audacious, a structure so precise it could stand against heaven itself. He ordered that its sides face the 4 cardinal directions with perfect fidelity. Surveyors placed wooden stakes in the sand and marked the tip of a shadow at sunrise, again at sunset. Where the 2 lines met, they drew the axis of the world. The margin of error was smaller than the width of a thumb. Once the base was cut, workers poured water into trenches that circled the site. When the reflections aligned, the foundation was level. The first blocks settled into that mirror, each corner checked by string and sightline. The stones did not speak, but they listened. To gravity, to measure, to repetition. Slowly, over 20 years, 6 million tons of limestone climbed into the sky, 1 palm width at a time. The noise of that labor would have been enormous. Copper chisels rang, sleds scraped over wetted sand, commands echoed from ramp to ramp. Yet within the chaos there was pattern. Archaeologists find evidence of bakery districts and breweries, of medical quarters and scribes' offices. It was an organized city devoted to an equation, energy converted into height. The men and women who lived there were not slaves but paid artisans. Their graffiti still hides on inner stones. The friends of Khufu, the drunkards of Menkaure. In those casual carvings, the human element survives, a reminder that perfection was built by hands that laughed. At its peak, the pyramid's outer casing of Tura limestone gleamed like snow. Sailors approaching from the delta claimed to see it shining hours before they reached shore. The monument caught sunlight and hurled it back at the heavens, a reflection bright enough to mark the calendar. At the equinox, the shadow of each side vanished, and for a few minutes the entire mass dissolved into pure balance. Neither light nor dark, the physical embodiment of Ma'at, the Egyptian ideal of cosmic order. Inside, silence replaced brilliance. Narrow corridors slanted upward at the exact angle of the northern sky. Air shafts pointed toward Orion's belt and Sirius, the stars believed to open the gate to the afterlife. When priests intoned hymns, the granite beams above their heads trembled. Modern instruments record those vibrations at about 117 Hz, a frequency that matches the resonance of the human chest cavity. The old ritual was physics performed without theory. Voice and architecture tuned to the same note. Every measurement hides intention. The ratio of the pyramid's perimeter to its height equals 2 pr within a fraction of a percent. The slope mirrors the angle at which sunlight descends on the winter solstice. The site sits almost exactly on the 30th parallel, balancing between equator and pole. None of this required divine intervention. Only observation so patient it became devotion. For the builders, precision was piety. At night, the camps below flickered with torches. Above them, Orion's 3 stars marched across the dark like sparks escaping the fires. The workers might have noticed how the pattern overhead matched the pattern they were raising from the ground. Their labor reproduced the sky. Their sweat turned mythology into topology. When later pharaohs added their own pyramids, the alignment continued, forming a stellar map visible only from above. The gods, if they looked down, would see their own reflection. Khufu did not live to see the last casing stone set. His body was carried through the ascending passage, sealed in the granite sarcophagus exactly on the east-west line so that dawn could strike it forever. To his priests, the logic was simple. If light is life, then geometry can resurrect. Each morning, the sun completes the ritual by itself. The centuries that followed stripped away the smooth casing, eroded the outer blocks, erased the names of those who planned and hauled. Conquerors took the stone for palaces. Wind scoured the inscriptions. Yet the form survived. Even wounded, the pyramid holds its proportions, its four corners locked to the compass points like a memory of perfection. The desert swallowed tools and camps, but not the design. What remains is thought made physical. For modern scientists, the pyramid is a textbook written in limestone. Engineers study its load distribution and find solutions identical to modern stress models. Archaeologists examine the ramp debris and discover logistics equal to any industrial project. Astronomers verify the alignments with lasers and confirm accuracy better than most 20th century buildings. The ancients did not guess. They calculated with instruments of shadow and time. Still, something escapes explanation. Stand at the base and look upward. The eye can't find the summit without moving. The brain measures but cannot grasp scale. The structure tricks perception into humility. Logic and awe fuse until they are the same sensation. That may be the real secret. The builders understood that reason and reverence feed each other. To measure the universe is to marvel at it. Even in ruin, the pyramid remains an active participant in its environment. Temperature differentials create gentle airflows through its passages. The stone absorbs heat by day and releases it at night, generating electrical potentials detectable by modern sensors. Limestone and granite both contain quartz. Under pressure, quartz produces charge. The ancients could not name piezoelectricity, but they sensed energy in stone. Their temple hymns speak of the mountain that breathes light. Metaphor, perhaps, but accurate. As the sun descends, the shadow of the pyramid stretches across the sand, touching the buried remnants of workers' homes. For a few minutes, the entire site lies within that triangle of darkness, as if the monument gathers its children before sleep. Then the desert cools, the stars return, and the same pattern begins again. 5,000 years of dawns and sunsets have not changed its rhythm. What endures is not mystery, but discipline. The Egyptians looked at the cosmos and saw order. They translated that order into stone, proving that understanding and faith could share the same foundation. The Great Pyramid is less a tomb than a statement. The universe is knowable, and knowledge can be beautiful. Under the moon, the pyramid loses its edges. Its mass melts into the night, and for a moment it seems to hover, not resting on Earth at all but suspended between dimensions. A frozen equation caught between light and gravity. In that pale silence, the logic that once birthed it feels almost audible. You can sense the measure of minds who refuse to be forgotten. The wind softens, brushing against the limestone like breath against skin. Somewhere, far below, buried rooms wait, small chambers filled with the dust of workers who died during the construction. They were given plots beside the monument they built, because to the Egyptians, dying near geometry meant joining the order of eternity. Archaeologists unearthed their skeletons in neat rows, healed bones, healed spines, evidence of care. The story of slavery evaporated. The story of mastery remained. Their tools were simple: copper chisels hardened by sand, dolerite pounding stones, ropes woven from palm fiber. The miracle was not technology, but persistence. Every mistake corrected by hand. Every block aligned by eye and intuition until the form achieved its own logic. They did not rely on mystery. They built from observation. The crack of stone against hammer, the hiss of wet sand beneath sleds, those were the sounds of thought becoming matter. What they left behind still teaches. The inner architecture is not random. It's a system of pressure points and resonant voids that make the pyramid a kind of tuned instrument. Scientists feeding sound waves into the chambers have recorded harmonic peaks identical to certain Earth resonances, frequencies connected to magnetic flux lines. To a modern mind, that's physics. To the ancients, it was harmony. They sensed that everything, wind, stone, flesh, star, vibrated to a common scale, and that by shaping stone correctly, they could join that music. Inside, the air temperature never changes. The structure breathes through its own small channels, maintaining equilibrium. Engineers replicate the design in laboratories to study passive cooling systems. The past instructs the future because the same logic endures. Balance equals survival. Above ground, the plateau is mapped with precision unimaginable before satellite eyes. Yet, even the newest technology does little but confirm what ancient rope and water once measured. The base deviates from perfect square by less than an inch. The north-south axis drifts from true north by barely a 20th of a degree. When laser scanners overlay the model onto global grids, the alignment falls almost perfectly on the meridian dividing Africa's landmass. Coincidence perhaps, but also intent. The Egyptians believed the center of the world was wherever balance existed, and balance is exactly what this structure is. Each stone depends on every other. Remove one key block, and tension redistributes, holding itself in check. A self-correcting monument, a metaphor for civilization itself. Maybe that is why it still stands. It was built not to dominate the earth, but to cooperate with it. When explorers from other empires arrived thousands of years later, they saw divinity rather than data. The Greeks called it a wonder, the Romans a riddle. The Arabs spoke of hidden power, a vault of knowledge sealed before the flood. Every culture projected its longing onto the stone because the pyramid never explained itself. Its silence invited imagination, and imagination filled the gaps that logic had already solved. Beneath its surface, new instruments peer deeper. In recent decades, Muon radiography, using cosmic particles to map voids, revealed undiscovered cavities above the king's chamber. They might be construction gaps or something more. The fact of their existence rekindled the question, how much do we still not know? Each discovery adds certainty to one truth. The ancients saw further than we assume. They understood stability, symmetry, sound, and sun, the four forces that still govern engineering. The rest, the mystery, is our projection of ignorance. Yet, to stand before it is to admit that logic alone doesn't satisfy. The structure triggers a physical reaction. Heart rate slows, breath deepens, pupils dilate. Some call it awe, others call it resonance. Perhaps the body recognizes ratios that match its own biology. The human form, after all, is a collection of golden proportions. When we stand inside the pyramid's geometry, we stand inside a mirror of ourselves. That is why it belongs to every age. To a scientist, it's a problem solved. To a philosopher, a question that never ends. It's evidence that precision can be sacred, that discipline can be beauty. When sunlight slides along its flank, we're seeing equations rendered in dust and devotion. Nothing mystical, just the elegance of accuracy. In the end, that may be the greatest secret hidden in the Egyptian pyramids. They do not depend on faith to inspire faith. They depend on proof. They remind us that order is not imposed by gods, but discovered by minds willing to listen. Every angle, every ratio, every alignment speaks one language. Truth has shape. The night deepens. Stars scatter above the plateau, the same constellations that guided the builder's home. The wind hums across the old casing stones, carrying a tone low enough to feel, but not to hear. For 5,000 years it has whispered the same phrase in every tongue. What you understand, you can make eternal. The pyramid does not answer questions. It embodies them. It stands as the oldest conversation between curiosity and the cosmos. And the silence between those two is not emptiness, but respect. Night folds over the plateau like a curtain drawn across an equation not yet solved. The pyramid disappears except for the edges that catch starlight. thin silver lines tracing angles too deliberate to be random. Out here, mathematics becomes a form of faith. Every distance between stars repeats itself in the dimensions of stone. It is as if the builders had not built upward toward heaven, but outward into pattern, into logic so vast it still reverberates through the air. By day, the structure seems inert. By night, it lives, translating celestial rhythm into geometry. Modern astronomers measuring its alignments realize that the ancients worked with an implicit understanding of spherical trigonometry. They tracked the heliacal rising of Sirius, the star that heralded the Nile flood, and used that cycle, 365 days, as a cosmic metronome. Each measurement began not with rulers, but with patience, watching, recording, calculating through repetition until the sky itself became a calendar. They built the pyramid as a clock that could not break. Its four sides mirrored the solar path. Its height equals the radius of a circle whose circumference matches the base. Every proportion expresses a constant, P, F, and the mysterious ratio between the polar and equatorial circumferences of Earth. How could they have known? Maybe they didn't know as we define it. They observed, intuited, and inscribed those truths in limestone the way a musician captures harmony by ear. Knowledge before notation. Inside the pyramid's upper chambers, the weight of the granite beams, some 60 tons apiece, presses down with perfect distribution. The architects achieved equilibrium by alternating layers of solid and void, a pattern of compression and release that modern engineers still emulate. That balance is what allows the structure to breathe through temperature shifts without cracking. Numbers saved it, not magic. Yet, to the priests who performed rites within, those same numbers were magic, proof that divine order could be written by human hands. They believed every integer carried a soul. 3 was the number of completeness, body, mind, spirit. 4 was the cardinal directions, the material world. 5, the union of the two, represented life itself. Stack them, and you get a pyramid of meaning. Base of 4, point of 1, ascent through 3. It was theology rendered in arithmetic. As centuries passed, the symbolic mathematics spread through temples along the Nile. Scribes scratched equations on shards of pottery, calculating volumes of grain and the slope of canals. Their formulas still survive. The Rhind Mathematical Papyrus, a manual for engineers and dreamers alike. It teaches how to find the area of a circle using 3.1605 as p, only a whisper away from perfection. The same number lives inside the Great Pyramid's proportions. Architecture and algebra were two faces of the same thought. To walk within those proportions is to feel steadied. Psychologists studying visitor reactions report a measurable drop in stress hormones after standing at the base for several minutes. The brain recognizes the harmony of ratio even before language interprets it. Somewhere deep in our neural circuits, geometry soothes. The ancients built serenity into stone. The mathematics extend beyond shape into acoustics. When sound waves are projected through the grand gallery, they climb and fade in intervals identical to musical octaves. The space acts as an amplifier tuned to the resonant frequencies of air columns. Chanting within that passage would have created overtones swirling above the priests' heads like invisible fire. Ritual met resonance. Spirituality met science. The builders may not have called it physics, but they practiced it faithfully. Outside, the surrounding pyramids form a pattern that reproduces celestial ratios on a continental scale. From Giza to Abu Simbel, the distances encode harmonic intervals. Scholars mapping the sites with satellite data notice logarithmic spacing that mimics the progression of planetary orbits. Coincidence remains possible, but the repetition of accuracy suggests intent. Ancient Egypt was less an empire of kings than a civilization of surveyors who turned landscape into equation. The more researchers study, the clearer it becomes that pyramid mathematics predicted natural constants discovered millennia later. The ratio of the pyramid's height to its base equals 1/2 of the golden ratio's tangent. Its orientation mirrors the angle of the Earth's axial tilt at the time of construction. Every line whispers, as above, so below. As within, so without. It is symmetry turned into law. Some modern theorists call it encoded knowledge, as though the ancients foresaw our science. Perhaps that overstates it. What they truly foresaw was curiosity itself, the drive to measure, to compare, to align. They understood that to quantify the world is to participate in it. Their mathematics was empathy disguised as computation. When sunlight floods the east face at dawn, the limestone absorbs photons and re-emits infrared heat long after sunset. Thermographic surveys show an even distribution of energy, an accident, perhaps, yet an accident so consistent it feels deliberate. The monument manages temperature as elegantly as it manages load. Logic breathes through it like wind through reeds. Down in the worker village, arithmetic ruled daily life too. Ration lists were balanced to ensure precise caloric intake. Tool inventories were updated in base 10 fractions. Hieroglyphic numerals carved into limestone quarries record deliveries matching the missing blocks in the pyramid's core. Everything was counted. The miracle of Giza was not divine inspiration, but bureaucracy executed with grace. Still, numbers alone cannot explain devotion. The men hauling stones looked up each evening and saw their progress against the stars. In the alignment, they recognized themselves, tiny, temporary, but correct. That sense of rightness is mathematics turned emotional. The joy of fitting into a pattern larger than one's lifespan. The same joy drives modern scientists who aim lasers at the pyramid today. Their beams trace the corners, feed coordinates into computers, and rediscover the same conclusions Imhotep once reached with rope and shadow. Technology changes, truth does not, and every new measurement seems to whisper back across the millennia. You were right. Technology changes, truth does not. The lasers sweep the ancient surfaces, confirming what the rope already knew. Every angle is intention. Each time the data matches, the computers hum their quiet approval, as if the machines themselves recognize an older intelligence at work. Inside the king's chamber, the stillness is absolute. Light from the entrance fades behind you until the granite absorbs even your breath. If you stand perfectly still, a faint vibration presses against the eardrums. Not sound, but pressure. Engineers call it standing wave resonance. Mystics call it the voice of stone. Either way, the air trembles with an awareness that something here has balanced all opposing forces. To the ancients, that balance was immortality. Numbers were not abstract. They were the bones of the cosmos. To carve them into rock was to give form to eternity. They built equations instead of myths, because equations do not die. The pyramid's dimensions survive even when language forgets their names. You can erase the story of the king, but not the square of its base. The geometry endures like memory itself. The priests recorded that the soul traveled by proportion. Its ascent mirrored the angle of the pyramid. Its rebirth followed the geometry of light. The shafts aimed toward Orion were highways for consciousness, not bodies. They believed that when the physical dissolved, the mathematical remained. In that faith, numbers were salvation. Modern archaeologists reading those same passages interpret them differently, yet the conclusion aligns. They find that the Great Pyramid's structure distributes stress through a sequence identical to logarithmic progression. The same pattern governs the spiral of galaxies, the curve of shells, the unfolding of leaves. Life itself obeys this mathematics. The Egyptians had built the shape of growth, frozen into permanence. The deeper one studies, the more elegant the logic becomes. Each block rests on a tiny layer of gypsum mortar, just enough to fill imperfections without shifting the load. The joints are so tight that not even a modern scalpel fits between them. Under magnification, the tool marks show a vibration pattern consistent with rhythmic sawing. Copper blades drawn in long, even strokes, each cut timed to the movement of water and sand. Precision born from rhythm again. Physics as music. The same rhythmic thinking appears in their measure of time. Their year contained 12 months of 30 days, plus 5 sacred days added at the end, an early leap year correction that kept the calendar aligned with the solar cycle. Geometry, sound, and time all tuned to the same principle: periodicity as order. The builders did not merely seek to last forever, they sought to stay in phase with the universe. By the time the last casing stone was set, the pyramid had become a perfect instrument of proportion. When wind crosses its faces at certain speeds, the vortices shed at audible frequencies, low tones that match harmonic intervals. Researchers placing sensors on its sides record patterns similar to those found in modern wind harp design. The structure sings to the desert, though no human ear hears the full song. To the workers who returned home after completion, the monument was proof that humanity could correct chaos. To modern scientists, it remains an unsolved equation of efficiency. Even after millennia of erosion, the deviation from original height is less than 1 meter. Buildings of steel crumble faster. The difference lies not in material, but in proportion. The closer one moves to perfect ratio, the slower entropy works. The pyramid is a study in resisting decay through mathematics, and yet perfection was never their end goal. Hidden within that precision is compassion for imperfection. Each side of the pyramid deviates slightly, barely measurable but deliberate. The architects introduced micro-variations to distribute stress, ensuring that no single line bore absolute tension. What we call flaw was their insurance against collapse. To them, only the gods were flawless. The rest of creation needed tolerance to survive. That tolerance is the pyramid's true genius. In the centuries that followed, new rulers built copies. None matched the accuracy of Khufu's because imitation lacked comprehension. The formulas were recorded, but the philosophy was lost. Later generations built for vanity, not equilibrium, and their monuments cracked. The Great Pyramid endures because its purpose was balance, not ego. In that equation lies a lesson every era forgets. Longevity belongs to what harmonizes, not what dominates. As the 21st century unfolds, technology rediscovers what the ancients implied. LiDAR scans reveal the internal voids acting as pressure buffers. Computational models show energy flows through the stone, like circuits through a motherboard. Architects borrow those ratios for skyscrapers. Aerospace engineers mimic its stress distribution in composite materials. The blueprint of Giza repeats itself in algorithms, satellites, even microchips. Human progress curves back to its origin point. The old mathematics still rules. At sunset, when the shadow stretches across the desert, the numbers come alive. The angle of light precisely matches the tilt of the Earth. The shadow's tip moves 1 royal cubit every 72 seconds. The same measure the Egyptians used for the precession of the equinoxes, a cycle that completes in 25 to 20 years. They had built time itself into architecture. Each evening, the planet's motion writes on the sand the same equation their priests once recited. Nothing is still, but all is ordered. If the pyramid could speak, it might say what all mathematics says. Permanence is rhythm correctly understood. The builders heard that rhythm in the flood of the Nile, in heartbeats, in stars. They translated it into stone, proving that death and decay are merely interruptions of pattern, not its end. The monument's silence is not mystery, but completion. The quiet of an equation balanced perfectly. As darkness rises, the limestone cools and contracts, releasing heat stored from the day. Thermographic cameras show it glowing faintly in infrared, as if the structure exhales light. Energy never truly leaves. It only changes form. The Egyptians had no such cameras, yet they wrote the same principle on tomb walls. All things return. Their mathematics predicted our physics. The tourists depart. The sand reclaims the footsteps, and the pyramid stands alone again, its dimensions whispering constants to a sky that still listens. 5,000 years have passed, but its logic remains current, its meaning renewable. What we call ancient is merely the beginning of understanding. This is the mathematics of immortality. Proportion as prayer, equation as echo, stone as the language of forever. The builders solved it once, and every civilization since has been checking their work. The desert before dawn is a void filled with memory. The wind is cool, the sand granular like powdered glass. From the edge of the plateau, the pyramid appears not as architecture, but as presence. A mountain whose symmetry feels deliberate, like breath drawn in before speech. Somewhere beneath its base lies a silence older than the first written word. That silence is what the ancients called divinity, the pause between creation and comprehension. By the end of Egypt's Old Kingdom, the people no longer built pyramids of such scale. The balance between economy, faith, and logic had shifted. The Great Pyramid became an ancestor, a teacher whose lessons outlived its architects. Temples along the Nile echoed its geometry in miniature, transposing stone formulas into columns and lintels. What had begun as an act of engineering matured into philosophy. The idea that knowledge itself was sacred, that learning could preserve the soul. For the priests of later dynasties, the monument was an archive of the gods' first conversation with humanity. They believed the gods had once walked the earth and, before departing, encoded their wisdom in geometry so that mortals could relearn it. Whether that was myth or metaphor didn't matter. The result was reverence. Each measurement, each alignment became scripture. When initiates studied in the temples of Heliopolis, their final examination was to stand at Giza and understand it without words. Millennia later, others came searching for literal scripture. Greek philosophers climbed its flanks seeking proof of Atlantis. Arab scholars explored its corridors looking for alchemical gold. 19th century explorers drilled holes into its chambers hoping to find hidden scrolls. What they found instead was a mirror. Every age saw its own reflection inside the pyramid. The Greeks saw geometry, the Arabs divine unity, the moderns lost technology. The pyramid never changed, only our questions did. Inside, microparticles of dust still drift in the air, remnants of breath from those who once lit torches in the galleries. Carbon dating finds traces of cedar oil, resin from Lebanon, grains of incense fused to stone. The air is older than some languages. Each molecule carries data. What was burned, what was sung, who stood here. The walls themselves act as a drive storing vibration. Scientists recording the low-frequency hum of the king's chamber found that the tone never entirely stops. It decays slowly, repeating every few minutes as if the building remembers. This persistence of vibration fascinates physicists. The granite beams contain quartz crystals, and under pressure they generate small electric charges. The weight of millions of tons keeps those crystals under constant stress, creating minute electromagnetic fields. The result is a steady pulse invisible to the eye but measurable by sensitive instruments. To ancient priests, that pulse was the heart of the god within the mountain. To modern science, it is piezoelectricity. The language differs, but the observation matches. When new scanning technologies emerged, we pointed them toward the ancient equation. Mont tomography mapped cavities never charted. Ground-penetrating radar traced tunnels beneath the Sphinx connecting to the plateau. Drones fitted with hyperspectral sensors detected subtle color variations on weathered blocks. Chemical ghosts of minerals used to seal joints. Each discovery erased superstition yet deepened wonder. The more the pyramid revealed, the more it resembled a machine built to teach. Perception itself. In 2023, a consortium of universities published high-resolution thermal imagery showing anomalies along the northern base, zones of cooler stone suggesting hidden passages. AI models reconstructed them as corridors angled downward toward what might be an unfinished chamber. If confirmed, it would rewrite the engineering history of the monument again. Even now, under the most advanced eyes humanity has ever possessed, the pyramid keeps secrets. Perhaps not because it is withholding them, but because our vocabulary for truth remains incomplete. Around its shadow, Cairo breathes. Satellite dishes sprout on rooftops, taxis trace circuits through dust, yet the rhythm of the city still follows the monument's logic. Repetition, endurance, adaptation. 5,000 years of habitation prove the same principle the pyramid embodied: stability through balance. The people live beside eternity as casually as birds perch on telegraph wires. their daily noise rising into the geometry of silence above. At noon, tourists queue at the entrance. The temperature difference between outside and in strikes like a threshold between worlds. Flashlights cut cones through dust. Footsteps echo with mathematical delay. A guide points upward, explaining that every joint, every groove was carved by hand. The tourists nod, whisper, raise phones. Their devices capture data the builders already understood intuitively. Light, angle, resonance, technology circles back to instinct. The past remains one step ahead. Climb high enough inside and a curious phenomenon occurs. The heartbeat synchronizes with the echo of your own steps. Doctors measuring pulse rates here record consistent drops in stress, as though the body entrains to the rhythm of the stone. Ancient accounts called it purification. Modern physiology calls it entrainment. Again, different language, same result. The architecture alters biology. The ancients designed empathy into physics. Beyond Giza, other pyramids repeat the conversation. At Dashur, the bent pyramid reveals adjustment mid-construction, proof that error was teacher, not failure. At Abu Simbel, alignment with the sun's path creates an annual miracle. Twice a year, the dawn penetrates the temple and illuminates the statues within. Geometry remains dialogue between time and light. The entire Nile Valley becomes a circuit of feedback, an analog computer running on sunlight and belief. To the modern imagination, the phrase hidden secrets suggests technology, power sources, lost machines, blueprints of alien origin. But the real secret is cognitive, not mechanical. The pyramid demonstrates that logic and awe can coexist without contradiction. Its builders did not choose between science and spirituality. They fused them until distinction vanished. That synthesis is the wisdom we keep misplacing. The desert itself seems to understand. Winds erode everything except proportion. Dunes shift, villages fall, empires fade. But the outline of the pyramid remains constant against the horizon. It outlasts not because it resists change, but because it represents equilibrium within change. Each stone is a negotiation with gravity, each angle a compromise between load and lift. Endurance is not rigidity, it is agreement. When night comes, stars return to their ancient alignments. The belt of Orion hovers precisely where the architects expected it, even after precession has nudged the heavens a little. The discrepancy reminds us that nothing, not even the sky, is permanent. Yet the relationship endures. The monument still converses with the constellations, and we, eavesdropping civilizations later, keep listening for meaning in the static between them. Some scientists now use the pyramid as calibration for orbital instruments. Its known dimensions allow satellites to adjust measurements of Earth's curvature. The monument built to imitate the world now helps us measure it. The echo of the gods becomes a tool in the hands of their descendants. The past does not fade. It integrates, and there lies the quiet revelation. Immortality was never about living forever. It was about continuity. Data passed from eye to hand to stone, from stone to mind. The pyramid is humanity's first hard drive, storing proportion instead of code, emotion instead of numbers. Every generation that learns from it extends its lifespan. Eternity is maintenance. Dawn rolls across the plateau and strikes the Great Pyramid first. One edge flares gold, then the next, until the whole form glows like metal remembering fire. 5,000 years have passed and the geometry still fits the sun exactly. Cairo hums below. Car horns, markets, satellites, but the noise bends around the monument's calm. The pyramid remains the still point inside history's storm, proof that order can survive change. Its design doesn't fight time, it works with it, breathing as the planet breathes, warming and cooling in rhythm with the day. Modern tools keep confirming what ropes and shadows already knew. Every angle was intention. Air currents curl off its sides in musical intervals. Granite beams inside hum at human chest frequencies. Even our instruments respond to it as if recognizing kin. Science calls it resonance. The ancients called it the voice of the gods. New scans reveal hidden voids and corridors polished for light, not people. AI models turn its interior into shimmering lattices, probabilities of space. Yet each discovery leads back to the same realization. The real secret is comprehension itself. The builders fused observation and devotion until they became one discipline. At night, the pyramid dissolves into shadow, the belt of Orion poised above. The match is no longer perfect. Precession has nudged the stars, but the conversation continues. The same pattern that guided copper chisels now guides satellites. The same hunger to measure still defines us. Technology is the echo of their curiosity. Walk close after sunset, and you feel it breathing. Heat leaves the limestone in slow waves, a pulse you can sense through your shoes. The Egyptians called that pulse Ka, the life energy of all things. They were describing thermodynamics without vocabulary, physics as faith. Maybe that is what they meant by eternity. Not endless time, but perpetual relevance. Every civilization finds itself reflected here. Scientists, mystics, poets, all reading the same equation from different corners. The pyramid endures because it obeys balance. It is neither miracle nor machine, but harmony made visible. The desert quiets. Stars touch the stone again. A cool wind slides across the face of the monument and carries one clear idea into the dark. Intelligence once stood here and loved the universe enough to imitate it. The Great Pyramid doesn't ask for worship. It asks for understanding. It waits, as it always has, for the next mind willing to listen to the language of proportion and hear, within its silence, the oldest human whisper. Understand me, and you will understand yourself.